Hello everyone, my name's Owen and today I'm going to be presenting my final project PowerPoint for juvenile delinquency. So for our first topic today, we're going to be defining and explaining juvenile delinquency. Juvenile delinquency is defined as an act committed by a minor that violates the penal code of the government with authority over the area in which the act occurs. This is usually a younger child between the ages of 10 and 18 years old. Once they're arrested and booked into the county jail, then they're labeled as a juvenile delinquent. Non-serious, non-violent acts that a juvenile commits, they have eligibility of being released the same day that they were booked, or they can be sent to a learning program within the facility to better shape up their act. If you're still under the age of 18, you commit a more serious act like murder, drug trafficking, drug abuse. You can be trialed as an adult, and which would lead to a harsher punishment and no eligibility for release. Statistically, it's proven that juvenile delinquency is believed to have been taught and not learned by the way that you grow up. It's how, when, what, and whom they interact with as part of their culture. Youth culture involves distinctive clothing, hairstyles, behaviors, footwear, and interest. So when you're growing up, you always want to be like your peers, like your dad, your uncles, your brothers, your sisters, anyone that's older than you. And the way that they grow up and the behavior and the acts that they do, you're obviously going to see that, and you're going to want to grow up like them and be like them, which could lead you in the wrong path and can be a negative influence on these juveniles. So for our next topic today, we're going to be talking about major causes of juvenile delinquency. It usually comes from lower poverty, different cultural values, disadvantaged home surroundings, and the environment that is around you and you grow up in. Researchers from Shippensburg, Pennsylvania found a study that people with unpopular names lean towards crime more. They also saw that people that would apply for job applications with unpopular names got less callbacks than people with popular names did. Another problem could be name shaming. This is this is a type of bullying which can be looked down upon people and make people feel unwanted or unworthy. Houses that are border affluent districts are more likely to be burglarized and vandalized. Coming from lower poverty, these people have no money, so they kind of lean towards crime more to support their lifestyle. So for the next topic, we're going to be talking about public schools and juveniles, the importance of detection and prevention of juveniles. In every school, there's bullying. There could be cyberbullying, social bullying, physical bullying, or verbal bullying. Each type of these can have a different effect on each person, which can lead them to either harming themselves or harming someone around them. Kids that get in trouble in the schools will be sent to ALC, which is Alternative Learning Center. This is for kids that misbehave and don't follow the rules, or usually for kids that start fights and start a lot of trouble in school. They're usually sent here for 45 to 120 days at a time. The teachers here are more strict and more harsh towards the students, and they don't have the same freedom as public schools would have. This is to deter kids from misbehaving and acting up in schools. A program that comes to schools to help students is the DARE program. They tell you about different drugs, the effects, and where you can end up if you were addicted to them and had a problem. In lower poverty neighborhoods, the DARE program does not exist. This is a budget restraint. It's supposed to be paid for by the schools, but since the schools don't have the money, they're not allowed to have these programs come and talk to their students. So these kids don't get the same knowledge as other schools, which can lead them to committing crimes and being addicted to drugs and stuff because they don't know the difference in the right from wrong. So for our next topic, we're going to be talking about influence and problems, peers, parents, and schools. Not every kid is fond of school and this can lead them to causing some kind of destruction or to committing crimes. Schools will offer programs and counseling to these students, which is run by the peers and teachers at the school, for them to come and talk and try and find a resolution to their problems. So according to the textbook, according to social structural theorists, they believe that social and cultural environment in which adolescents grow up in, or the subcultural groups in which they belong to, can lead/cause juvenile delinquency. So this is how they grow up and the way that they evolve around their peers. In New York City, there was a 12-year-old girl that was arrested for selling marijuana and crack cocaine. There was many people that were in her neighborhood that never thought that she would do such a thing, never thought she was like that. So as they did their research, another witness came out and spoke up and said that the gangs around the town run the streets, and they put youth juveniles as young as 7 and 8 years old to traffic drugs and sell guns for their older brothers and sisters. So she's obviously from a socially disorganized community, and she doesn't understand the right from wrong, and she thought that was the only means of trying to make money and how she was going to do it. So for our next topic, we're going to be talking about the court system. The first juvenile court system was created in 1899 when the court passed the Juvenile Court Act. This was an act that was put into place for the court and other authorities to have control over children that may be involved in juvenile delinquency. They also had community-based corrections. This was when a juvenile was arrested, they were either sent back to their family or they were sent to places inside the community to help with their services. So they were either a servant or apprentice. They also had juvenile aftercare, which was kind of like adult parole. This was when a juvenile is released on juvenile aftercare, these individuals are supposed to immediately report to the officers when upon arrival. They have to write to the superintendent each week, and they're supposed to check in with an officer on the first of every single month. So they also had probation. This was made to supervise juveniles and adults rather than send them to jail. This was for nonviolent offenders, usually first-time offenders, and people that are on good behavior. This gave them the guidance and counseling that they need to get back on the right track.